with read the file. So open file name is conf.env, read it as R, file handler for line in file. Now break the line, split the line based on equal sign that we had there. Now populate the config dictionary. Line 0 should be the key, and then line 1 with the value. Replace it with any new line if it has with empty. Perfectly fine. Yield, and also delete this once the test is finished. pytest.config. Okay, fine. So this is about it, and now let's also create this certain markers. So pytest markers. So we'll be having one for positive. So all positive tests need to be marked with this negative for negative test, and then login will be having tests related to login feature, then purchase tests relating to purchase feature. Fine. Okay. So now let's move to the app part. So we'll be creating a file called login locators .py. So it will be having all the locators related to login feature, and then there is this login page object file. Okay. So inside login locators, let's put down all the locators that will be used from selenium dot webdriver dot common dot by import by, create a class called login locators checked. So if we open the website, so here we can see that this is having three elements that will be required for a login: user text, password text, and login button. If you open the inspect, we can see that they can be inspected using input. So they are basically input, and there is this unique ID, username, and similarly for password and for login button. So we can create those user text locator by xpath. So let's create that xpath. So it was basically input and having ID as username, right? So let's write that, and similarly for, let's copy paste for password, user password, and then there would be login button, login button. So it will be a button, and what is the name of that button or ID? It is login button only. Okay, button. Now fine. Now let's move to login. Here from app dot login locators, import login locators. Now create a class called login. It will be deriving from object. Okay, create constructor self. It will be requiring driver. Okay, self dot web URL. Let's get that from config that we had created. Config, and it will be web URL pytest.config. Okay, pytest also needs to be imported. Great. Now we have web URL. Let's write driver as well. So it's fine. Now what we will be doing is we'll be navigating to this web page. So let's create a function called navigate to login self self dot driver dot get self dot web URL. Okay, so we can call that from here as well. Navigate to login, and that's fine. I think now let's create a method to enter username. So user from test will be passing that username. So let's do a pass for now, and we'll be writing it later on. User password self dot password, and pass again, and then click login. So self only, and then pass, and then there is full login method that will also be needed maybe for later on. Okay, so now this is fine. Before moving ahead, we need to have a util over here, inside which we'll be basically writing couple of helper kind of methods for weight, selenium element weight, etc. So let's do that. From selenium dot webdriver dot support dot UI import webdriver weight from selenium dot webdriver dot support import expected conditions as EC. Now let's write a function wait for element. So this will be requiring driver and timer. We need to set for wait and then element. Okay, so let's write that. So let's write it inside try webdriver wait driver and timer, and then until EC presence of element located, and then web element, so the element that has been passed. Okay, now return true if element was found, accept return false. So if element is not found after required timer, then return false. So this is done. Now come to login part. Enter user. So here we'll be basically waiting. We'll be basically importing that method that we wrote from common dot YouTube import wait for method. So now here let's call that wait for element self dot driver and timer. Let's set for maybe 10 second. So driver and self dot timer, timer, and then element. So login locators dot user text we'll be waiting for. So if it is found, then we'll be basically we'll be basically locating that self dot driver dot find element and login locators user text, right? And then element dot send keys to pass the values which user wants to pass, right? And now else just raise an exception that element not found, format, and element is this one. So similarly we'll be having for password as well. So let's copy that, and instead of here user password, okay. And now for login it will be slightly different. So, login login button, sorry, login button. Okay, so here we need not send anything, just click over here, right? And then also we need to have a method to verify whether redirection has happened or not. So verify login success. So inside this we can simply return self dot driver dot current URL, and we'll be verifying in inside test that the URL contains